Have you ever wondered what true love looks like in the simplest moments? Today's story follows Quang and Linda, a couple whose bond grows stronger through shared laughter, small acts of care, and heartfelt honesty. From tidying up Quang's tiny rented room together to walking hand in hand in the park where Quang confesses his financial struggles, to the emotional moment they decide to register their marriage despite humble beginnings. This tale celebrates love, trust, and commitment. Stay with us as we dive into their heartwarming journey. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories of love and life. Quang stood in the middle of his small rented room, taking a deep breath as he let his eyes wander across the space he had just spent the afternoon tidying up. It wasn't much, just a modest room with plain walls, a small bed pushed against the corner, a worn wooden desk, and a narrow wardrobe that had seen better days. But now, after hours of effort, it felt like a place that could truly be called home. The sunlight streaming through the window cast a warm golden glow across the floorboards, illuminating the tiny details that had seemed inconsequential before. Dust motes floated lazily in the rays of light, sparkling as if celebrating the care that had been poured into the room. Linda moved quietly around the room, her hands busy folding clothes and arranging books on the shelves. Every gesture she made was gentle, precise, and filled with an unspoken warmth. She picked up a stack of old notebooks, brushing off the thin layer of dust, and carefully placed them in a neat row on the desk. Quang watched her, his heart swelling with a mixture of gratitude and admiration. There was something about the way she cared for his space, not as a chore, but as if she were honoring the life he had built for himself, that made him feel seen in a way he had never felt before. "Almost done," Linda said softly, glancing over her shoulder with a small, contented smile. Her eyes shining with quiet happiness met Quang's, and for a moment, the room seemed to shrink, enclosing them in a bubble of warmth and intimacy. It was in this shared silence that Quang felt the true weight of their connection, not in grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but in the simple, tender act of being present together, of making something small and ordinary feel special. He knelt to adjust a rug by the bed, trying not to notice how the corners curled stubbornly, and Linda chuckled quietly at his frown. "Don't worry," she said, reaching down to smooth it with her hands. "It's perfect now." Her voice, gentle and reassuring, carried a sense of calm that seemed to settle the restlessness in his chest. Quang smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes, and felt a warmth spreading through him. In that moment, he realized that happiness didn't need to be extravagant. It could simply be found in these quiet, shared moments, in the laughter that slipped out between them, and in the comforting presence of someone who truly understood him. The room, now organized and clean, reflected more than just physical order. It reflected the effort they had both invested not only in making the space welcoming, but in nurturing the bond between them. The small bed looked inviting, the desk organized and ready for use, and the wardrobe neatly arranged with clothes folded in straight lines. It was a simple transformation, yet it carried a profound sense of accomplishment, a shared achievement that strengthened the invisible thread connecting their hearts. Quang moved to the window, drawing back the curtain slightly to let more sunlight in. Linda joined him, her hand brushing against his as she leaned to peer outside. From this small vantage point, the world seemed calm and bright, a perfect contrast to the tiny chaos that had existed in the room just hours before. For the first time in a long while, Quang felt a sense of peace settle over him, a quiet, unwavering certainty that no matter what challenges awaited, they could face them together. Linda looked at him, her eyes reflecting the golden light of the afternoon, and in that gaze, he found reassurance, joy, and an overwhelming sense of belonging. As they stood side by side, basking in the simple comfort of a clean, sunlit room, Quang realized that happiness was not about grandeur or luxury. It was about moments like these, small, tender, shared with someone who cared deeply, where the mundane became magical and the ordinary transformed into something profoundly beautiful. In that little room, with sunlight, dust motes, and soft laughter swirling around them, Quang felt an undeniable truth. He was exactly where he was meant to be, and he was exactly who he wanted to be with. After finishing their small domestic project, Quang gently took Linda's hand and they stepped out of the room into the warm embrace of the afternoon sun. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut grass from the nearby park. They walked side by side, their fingers intertwined, savoring the simple comfort of each other's presence. The city hummed softly around them, but within the bubble of their shared moment, the noise and haste seemed to fade, leaving only the serenity of two hearts quietly in sync. They found an empty bench beneath a sprawling oak tree, its branches stretching wide and offering a gentle shade. Linda sat first, her hair catching the sunlight, glinting like strands of gold, and Quang followed, sitting close enough that their knees brushed. A soft breeze rustled the leaves above them, and for a while, they simply watched the world go by. The children chasing after fluttering kites, an elderly couple strolling hand in hand, the occasional dog bounding past with joyful abandon. It was ordinary, yet the simplicity of the moment made it feel extraordinary. Quang's gaze fell on Linda, tracing the curve of her smile, the way her eyes sparkled when she was happy, and he felt a twinge of unease alongside the warmth in his chest. He had been holding something back, a truth that had weighed on him quietly but persistently. He exhaled slowly, summoning the courage to speak. "Linda," he began, his voice soft yet steady, "there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been thinking about a lot lately." She turned toward him, sensing the gravity in his tone, and he felt the gentle squeeze of her hand encouraging him to continue. I don't have much right now. Financially, I'm still struggling. I can't give you the wedding you deserve, not yet. I wish I could sweep you off your feet with a grand celebration with everything perfect, but the truth is, we can't have that right now." His words hung in the air, heavy with honesty and vulnerability. And for a moment, the park felt impossibly large and quiet, as if the universe itself was listening. Linda's gaze softened, her fingers tightening around his. She leaned slightly closer, resting her shoulder against his, and said, gently, "Quang, I don't need a grand wedding. I don't need a huge party or expensive rings. What matters to me is you and us. That's enough." Her words were like a soothing balm to his anxious heart, washing away the doubt and fear he had carried for so long. He looked at her, his chest tightening with the mix of relief and admiration, and felt a wave of gratitude he couldn't fully express. "I just want us to be officially together. I want us to go register our marriage to be husband and wife in the eyes of the law. We can plan a proper celebration someday when we're ready, but for now, I just want to promise you that I'll do everything I can to make our life together happy and secure." Linda's eyes glistened with emotion, a mixture of joy and tenderness. She nodded, her voice steady but full of feeling. "Yes, Quang, I want that too. I want us to start our life together officially, no matter how small or simple the beginning is. Let's take this step together." For a long moment, they sat quietly, their hands still entwined, absorbing the depth of what had just been said. Around them, the park continued its gentle rhythm, the distant laughter of children, the rustling leaves, the hum of life. Yet for Quang and Linda, time seemed to slow. In that shared silence, he felt the weight of the world lift slightly, replaced by a calm certainty that they would face
everything together, hand in hand, heart with heart, ready to turn the page into a new chapter of their lives. It was not the wedding of dreams he had once imagined, but in that honest, intimate moment beneath the old oak tree, he realized it was a beginning that felt infinitely more precious.
The following days seemed to carry a quiet excitement, a gentle anticipation that lingered in every shared glance and touch. Quang and Linda found themselves returning to the park, walking hand in hand, their conversation light and easy, yet underlined with the unspoken promise they had made. Each moment together felt like a thread weaving the fabric of their future, and the world outside seemed to fade whenever they were near one another. The mundane routines of life, the hum of traffic, the clatter of shopkeepers, the distant barking of dogs blurred into insignificance compared to the vivid, glowing reality of their connection. One bright morning, after weeks of planning and quiet discussion, Quang finally took Linda to the registry office. The city streets were busy, but for them, the journey felt almost ceremonial. They walked side by side, their fingers intertwined tightly, hearts beating in a shared rhythm. Every step seemed to echo the weight of the decision they were about to make. A choice to publicly commit to each other, to step forward as husband and wife, even though their lives were simple, their means modest. There was no grand celebration, no fanfare, no luxurious hall, just the two of them, and the certainty that this was right, that this was theirs. Inside the registry office, the air was cool and quiet, the walls lined with certificates and framed photographs of couples who had taken this very step before them. Quang felt a flicker of nervousness, but Linda's hand on his arm grounded him. She smiled, a soft, encouraging curve of her lips that instantly eased his tension. "We'll be okay," she whispered, leaning slightly against him. Her words were a gentle anchor, and he drew a deep breath, letting the calm spread through him. They approached the counter together, giving their names and filling out the necessary paperwork with deliberate care. Every signature, every stamp, every official word etched a sense of permanence into their relationship, a quiet triumph of love and commitment over uncertainty and hesitation. When the moment came for them to exchange their vows, spoken softly and privately, Quang's voice trembled slightly, but it carried sincerity. "Linda," he said, his eyes searching hers, "I may not have riches or grandeur, but I promise you my heart, my loyalty, and all the happiness I can give you. I want to face life with you through every challenge, every joy, every quiet morning, and every stormy night." Linda's eyes shone with tears, and she replied, her voice steady and full of warmth. "Quang, I choose you. I choose this life with you. Together we can create our happiness no matter where we start." The registrar pronounced them husband and wife, and in that small, unassuming room, the world seemed to shift. There were no cheers, no confetti, no luxurious hall. But for Quang and Linda, it was perfect. They held each other's hands tightly, feeling the reality of their bond, the tangible proof of their commitment. Outside the office, the city carried on, but for them, it felt paused, giving space for the quiet, profound joy that enveloped them. Later, as they stepped back into the sunlight, their fingers still intertwined, Quang felt a surge of emotion. "We did it," he murmured, a smile tugging at his lips. Linda leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. "Yes," she said softly, "we did it together." They walked slowly, savoring the simple beauty of the moment, the warmth of the sun, the gentle rustle of leaves, the laughter of children in the park. Each step felt lighter, each breath fuller. It wasn't a wedding of grandeur, but it was theirs, built on honesty, love, and shared dreams.
As the afternoon waned and the sky turned a soft golden, they found themselves back under the same oak tree where so many of their conversations had begun. Sitting together, leaning close, they shared a comfortable silence, hearts beating as one. Quang realized that happiness wasn't about lavish ceremonies or extravagant promises. It was about being seen, loved, and chosen by the person that mattered most. And in that quiet, sun dappled park, with Linda's hand in his and her warmth pressed close, he knew they had begun the most beautiful chapter of their lives, together, officially, and utterly in love.
Xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Ninja Review. Vậy là tập phim của ngày hôm nay của chúng ta đã kết thúc tại đây. Trong tập phim ngày hôm nay thì sau những giờ lao động vất vả bên trang trại của Linda và sau một buổi dọn dẹp phòng trọ vất vả của Quang thì Quang và Linda đã gặp nhau và chia sẻ với nhau về những niềm vui nỗi buồn trong cuộc sống trong một ngày của cả hai người. Và trong lúc này khi trò chuyện thì Quang có ngỏ lời là muốn cả hai đi đăng ký kết hôn để chính thức trở thành vợ chồng. Điều đó khiến Linda cảm thấy rất là hạnh phúc. Cô hoàn toàn đồng ý với quyết định này của Quang. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn về câu chuyện tình yêu Quang và Linda sẽ còn ở phía sau. Các bạn hãy bấm vào nút đăng ký kênh để nhận được thông báo mới nhất về tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nha. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại vào tập sau. Bye bye.